Yes, I think Sivam, you were having some issue, right?
No, Amit, I'm Siddhant.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Siddhant, sorry.
Is it visual my screen?
Yeah, I can see. So, yep, let us know what's the issue that you're having.
Yeah. Mm. Amit, after clicking on that button,
Mm-hmm.
I am getting all the variables means, but I don't get the proper field value.
Okay, so you're firing the event, you're sending some information, and then you're not getting. Okay, can you show us basically maybe your code once?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be here. I am getting that value JSON.stringify value, but I
Mm-hmm.
am not getting console.log means value.first name or title.
Okay, what you are sending from your child component? Like, what is the exact value that you're sending? Can you show us?
Yeah, actually, I am sending that event.
Okay, so see here, right? You're sending the list of records. So you're
Mm.
sending an array, right? So once you have list of records, you cannot directly access the property like the object, like the dot notation that we have.
Mm.
So if you really have a list of records, so you really need to iterate through that list of record and then need to print it. So if you if you go there in your in your console as well.
Mm.
So if you see here, right, if you scroll down, this is an array, the JSON.stringify that you printed, right?
Mm.
This is an
Yeah.
array starting from a square brackets. So
Okay.
anything that is starts from square brackets is actually nothing. It's an array in JavaScript. And now if you do like if you say array dot first name, it will not know which records because it has so many records like 1, 2, 3, maybe 10, 20. So now you are saying that value dot first name. So that will not which record first name you're talking about, which record last name you're talking about. Okay.
So I need to iterate, right?
Yes, you really need to iterate. And then if you want to print the details, you can just maybe using a for loop or using a for each. You can use array methods. There are multiple array methods in JavaScript. You can just utilize your methods and then print the details in the JavaScript if you want. And if you want to print the detail in Lightning Web Component, as we have seen, you can use for each or iterator to display the details.
Okay, thanks, Amit.
Yep, no worries. So yeah, I think is there anyone else who wants to share something, having issue or some problem with the assignments, or maybe in general, by watching the recording, you might have seen, like you might find that this concept is not you're not able to understand or something.
Amit, is sorry, please. Yeah, I just have a simple question actually. Amit, is there a way that we can directly run that contact JSON file in the JS?
In the JavaScript file, I didn't get, like you're saying, like we,
So for assignment 6 or 7, where you share that JSON contact JSON, right?
yeah.
The Mayank which was showing us. So can we directly call that file into JS?
You mean like we don't copy and paste the code, we can directly use the URL and print it, right?
Yeah, kind of that.
So basically, so to be honest, I didn't try it, but maybe this is a public link. So there is a fetch method in JavaScript. So we can try using that fetch method, and that might give you the maybe data about that JSON. So maybe in the meantime, if someone is having the question, I'm just trying to see how we can use fetch method. and then we can see if that actually works. But I think, yeah, using the fetch method, it should basically giving us the detail.
Amit, I tried it out, but the link is not accessible. It's throwing an exception.
But it's a public link.
Yeah, I tried it, but it's shown like refused. The connection is refused. So then I copied and pasted in the code.
Okay, then it might needed some authentication.
Yep.
Because, yeah. Okay, so I think then we've got our answer.
I'm good, Amit. I will try that and we'll see what can I do.
Yeah, sure. Please, like it's a humble request from my side. Please do try assignments. I'm always saying that it's a betterment for all of you. Because I'm not going to like try it, or I'll say I've already got ample number of experience. Rohit has really got a great experience on LWC. So we are here just for you guys to guide how you can easily work on LWC. Because these are the foundation. You might be thinking that you're not doing something which is you might not see in the project, but this is foundation basically. If your foundation is really like we say, right, if you really wanted to build a strong building, you really need to have a good foundation. So basically these are all the foundation for us, especially the event part. This is really foundation, and that's why I'm just every time I'm trying to reiterate that we should be working on the assignment part and the answering the questions that we are asking, or we are putting into we are basically putting into the Slack channel, into our slides, sending the Google Forms. Yep. So anyone else has any questions?
Yes, Amit, the other day you were showing, right, that when for the lookup thing, right, when you showed us some method. Actually, I forgot the name, like that method, but that's still not clear. Like because you're saying we are doing the lookup and we want to place the error just below that, right?
That is the input validation. Don't go to the lookup
Okay.
part. Okay. So basically lookup is
Okay.
lookup. I was just trying to give you an example. Right, like this would be the use case where you would be using at the rate handle API. But when we talk about the validation one, right, we were trying to show the error. So it's pretty simple. If I can, maybe if you can see my screen. So this is, yeah, I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, Amit.
Okay. So if you go to input into our
I'm not sure, Amit, like is it for only for me that your voice is breaking up? I mean,
hello, is it breaking for everyone?
Yes, Amit.
Oh, I think there is some connectivity issue. What about now?
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, please do let me know if there is any issue. Okay. So I was saying that if you go to input, right, and if you go to maybe documentation tab, you will basically see multiple examples out there. And then there is like, again, I would log into my Salesforce org. So basically what happens by default, if you try to log into your Salesforce org, try to create a record, and then if there are some required fields, maybe at the field label, or maybe from the page layout, or maybe from a validation rule, or from Apex trigger, you will see the error message into the UI that will say that these fields are required. Okay. So if you say this account name is required, and if I don't fill, you'll get the error say account name is, or maybe this field, complete this field. You'll also see some error in the bottom as well. But if you really wanted to build this kind of functionality in LWC, you really have to build it. You really have to use the methods that are provided by Lightning input component in the LWC component library. Because there is no such standard way, you will definitely able to use a required attribute on the input, and this is how your input going to look like. But it will not force the validation. So in order to force the validation for all the required fields, you basically need to use methods. One is report validity and one is check validity. So these are the two methods. One is report validity, which is going to report the validity and display whatever the message you want into the UI. And check validity is a method which is going to check if your input is valid or not. Not only for the required, it is also going to check the other validation, like if your input data type is of type email, then it will check if it is a valid email format or not. If your data type format is phone, it will check if it is a valid phone format or not. Or maybe if you have provided some custom pattern in your input, there is a attribute called pattern that you can provide in your input, basically, especially on the numbers or email format, to make sure that is inputting the correct values. All those kind of validation are going to be performed with this check validity method. So that is when we were talking about the lookup thing, because we had a child component, we had a @API method into the child component, and we wanted to see a use case of using @API method calling from parent and then displaying some error. Then we took that example. So really need not to worry about the lookup. We are definitely going to see how you can create the lookup field. Okay. Yeah, anyone else has any questions? Okay, I'll take this silence as no, and then we can move forward as usual. And this is our agenda for today then. We'll try to cover most of these today because this is very simple, easy, but very helpful. We keep talking about how we can work with the UI part. We have never touched the backend, that is Salesforce itself. We never created a record, we never viewed a record, we never deleted or edited a record, right? So from this video onwards, we are going to continuously interact with the backend with Salesforce objects, Salesforce database, and either create, view, or delete, or maybe edit the record. Okay, so before we go ahead, if you feel that my voice is not clear, please let me know, because I have got ulcer, so I'm trying to avoid that part of my mouth so that it doesn't touch in my tongue. So what is Lightning Data Service? So basically, all these three components: record form, record view form, record edit form, these all three are part of Lightning Data Service. Okay, we are also going to see multiple methods, wire decorators as part of Lightning Data Service as well, but we are going to start with these three tags, which are easy and simple. When it comes to like using record form or record edit form, record view form, or Lightning object info API or data info API, basically it comes under Lightning Data Service. Okay, I'm not sure why it's happening. How about now? Okay. So yeah, I was talking about Lightning Data Service. So basically, Lightning Data Service gives you the ability to easily read or edit or display any record information into the UI. And if you're making any changes into the record, your Lightning Data Service is going to reflect the data without refreshing the component. We really don't need to manage the refresh part of our component. LDS also, we can also say LDS is a middleware that acts between your Lightning Web Component and your server, that is Salesforce. So basically, you can consider like that as a middleware of your you can consider that there is a middleware sitting between your Lightning Web Component as well as between your Salesforce server. And that middleware is going to help you to interact with Salesforce server, and Salesforce is going to interact with Lightning Web Component. So there are two types of, we would say there are two types of LDS, or maybe we'll say the two different kind of components that we can utilize within Lightning Data Service. One with the help of Lightning based components that we talked about: Lightning Record Edit Form, Lightning Record Form, and Lightning Record View Form. And then the second part is wire adapter. Wire adapters are basically the methods, the functions that we can utilize with the help of Lightning UI asterisk API. Why we are saying UI asterisk API? Because we have got UI object API, you have got UI object info API, we have got UI data API. So there are so many UI asterisk API modules. And most of those methods are basically the wire adapters, and we will see how easily this LDS basically is, and how we will, like, if you really understand this LDS, most of the time you will try to utilize LDS instead of writing your custom Apex class. And I'll try my best to make you understand in a very easy way so that you can utilize this LDS in your day-to-day instead of writing the custom Apex. Definitely there would be use cases where you would want it to write the custom Apex, but that is going to be way beyond our Lightning Data Service. So this is how I was talking about, like this is your Lightning Data Service, which is going to act as a middleware between your Lightning Web Component and your server, which is Salesforce. So there are two part of we'll say there are two components. One is browser, which is client, and one is server. So this is client and this is server. Client is going to have Lightning Web Component and Lightning Data Service. Server is going to have UI Record API. So we can hello. So am I audible?
Amit, your screen is not visible and
Yeah, you can
Yes.
audible, but your screen is not visible.
Yeah, screen is not edible. Sorry, not visible because the sharing has been stopped. And you should be able to see now.
can you start from
So from where you started hearing me?
yeah.
So which part, like which was the last part?
I think wire adapters.
Okay, wire adapters. Okay. So we are talking about this wire adapters. Okay. So we were saying that there are two components. Yes, one is components and one is wire adapters. And wire adapters are really helpful, really useful for us in our day-to-day life. Whenever we are going to work with, we are going to interact with data. We wanted to create records. We wanted to read some fields. We wanted to delete the record. So mostly we are going to take help from our wire adapters, and these wire adapters are basically nothing. These are the methods. Okay. We have just given the name as wire adapter, but there is nothing as such that we are going to say wire adapter or something else. The reason we are saying wire adapter because these are the methods which are accessible with the help of our @wire decorator. This is a new decorator that we are going to see in coming videos. And all the functions are basically available within the API within our modules called lightning/UI asterisk API. This UI asterisk API is basically the reason we have put as UI asterisk API because it has multiple modules like UI object info API, UI data API, and there are a couple of more UI asterisk API modules. So that's why we say UI and API are going to remain intact. And this asterisk is going to be replaced, maybe a data API, maybe object info API, I think there is one list view API. So there are multiple API modules that we can access. And then we were talking about this picture. So every time there is a web application, it has two essential part. One is the client and one is the server. Our client could be mobile application or the browser. And then the server is our backend. In our case, it is Salesforce. Okay. So our Lightning component, whenever it is using Lightning data service, cannot directly interact with Salesforce database. What we have is we have Lightning data service as a middleware which is interacting with the Lightning web component, with the client, with the browser. And after this Lightning data service, this Lightning data service is not directly interacting with database. It is interacting with another layer, another restrictions layer, we can say, or we can say another security layer, that is UI record API. So this UI record API is going to connect with your Salesforce database. It is going to maybe get the information, give it to the UI record API, and the UI record API is going to send the data back to Lightning data service. And then data is going to be displayed in your Lightning web component. On the other hand, if you wanted to edit the data, so let's say you made some changes and click on save button. This component is going to send the information to Lightning data service. Now Lightning data service will send the information to the UI record API. This UI record API is going to send the data to database, which is Salesforce. Salesforce will do the DML and then will return the information to back to the Lightning web component. All this happens within a very microseconds or it's a milliseconds, that so that we cannot really see that there are so many things happening behind the scene. But this is how exactly your Lightning data service works in Lightning web component. And the same was with our Lightning Aura component as well. Now, these are the three different components that we are going to talk about today. The Lightning record form, Lightning record edit form. At its name indicates, it is responsible for displaying a record into the editable form. And then there is Lightning record view form, that is again very simple, self-explanatory. It can display the record into the read-only view. And then Lightning record form, this is really super powerful because it supports all mode, edit, view, as well as create. So we can utilize this Lightning record form for our viewing the record, for editing a record, or even for creating a new record. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working with, we will start with Lightning record form, and then we will move forward to the Lightning view form and Lightning edit form. Any questions so far?
Amit, Chandra here. If possible, can you increase a little bit of font?
Sorry?
Maybe. No, font. That is.
Okay,
Can
yeah,
you
I'll
increase it?
definitely, yes, I will. Anything apart from this?
Yeah, no, that's good thing.
It's better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so if any questions, please feel free to maybe put into the chat, or maybe you can ask the question, unmute yourself and ask. That's also fine. So we were talking about Lightning record form. So we just created a component called LDS record form. Okay. We're really not going to do anything into the JavaScript. We are going to quickly navigate to our HTML file. And we are going to have a Lightning card here. As we know, this card takes the title. So I'll say LDS record form. Icon name is one attribute as well. So I'll say standard :account. And that's it. This is as simple as my Lightning card. And within this Lightning card, we can accept a division tag. That division tag is going to have our Lightning record form. So the Lightning record, the syntax of our Lightning record form is very simple: Lightning -record -form. You can see here. And it takes few things. And what are those few things that are really important for us? One is record ID. if you really wanted to display the information about a record, you can take the record ID. The other one is object API name, for which object this record ID is. And then the layout type. So either you wanted to display the complete information about the record, or you wanted to complete just the compact information. So the value for this layout type is either full or compact. So you can put anything. If you say full, it is going to read the complete layout, the layout of your record, and it's going to display the information. Or if you say compact, it's going to read the compact layout and display the information. Then there is a columns element. Here you can specify how many columns you wanted to display in a row. I can say 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe let's say 4, and we will see it's going to display the information in 4 columns. Currently in our Salesforce org, if you open any record here, you will see it has got 2 columns, account owner and the rating, 1 column and 2 column. So if you really want in a 2 column, you can have 2. If you want 1, by default it is a 1 column. So we can say 2. And then there is a mode. So you can define either edit, or you can define view, or you can define read only, like this. So if you say edit, you can create and edit the record. You say view, your by default your component is going to be into the view mode, and if you say read only, it's going to be into the read only format. Okay, view is going to display the information like this, where you will have this pencil icons to edit the record. Read only is not going to have these any of the pencil, and edit is going to display the information in the edit mode. So we can say edit. So these are some of the attributes that we would have. Maybe if we really want, let's say I wanted to pass the record ID of this object, account object, and then object API name is account. You could have the variables, the properties here in your JavaScript, and you can refer those values as well. There is one parameter called fields as well. So if you provide the value to layout type, then fields is not required. If you provide the value to fields, then layout is not required. If you provide both, if you provide the values for both layout type as well as for fields, I really need to see which one gets the preference. But this is always as advisable. If you really want to utilize this lightning record form, try not to use layout type, try to use fields. How you can utilize fields, we will also see that. And then let's go ahead, our meta file, expose this component. This time I'm going to use the shortcuts to expose it to these three are the components for me, the target for me. And let's deploy this. So any questions? Voice is clear, you can hear. And any other questions, confusion, anything?
What was the other value other than compact for layout type?
Full.
Oh.
It was full.
So basically in view, when you do view is read only, right? Like I didn't get the difference between view and the read only, because like view also, right? You should not have the pencil icon, right?
This is a view. Okay, this is view. You have a pencil icon. Okay.
And when view and edit both.
No. Let me finish. This is view. Okay. You have this pencil icon. Okay. This is edit.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
And then if this pencil icon are not there, that is read only. We will see the difference between all three. So you all get the understand. So our component is there in the org. We just need to go ahead and add it into the component. You could add into the either record page, home page, or maybe application page. So I'm itself adding into the account detail page, and the component name is LDS record form. So you would see here, because I have added 2 columns, I have given 2 as a value for my columns. I can see the record is coming, the information is coming in 2 columns, and this is coming into the edit mode. So now you see the mode that we have given is edit, and we can see our information is coming into the edit mode. Now let me show you one thing. If you see billing country, parent account, these are blank, as well as this account site is blank. Now if I edit it here, let's say I'm putting some value. I'm just confirming my voice is clear. Okay. So if you see, these are some of the blank values that I've just provided, maybe customer type, industry as well, right? So for customer type, I'm changing industry as well as I'm changing some value. And if we save it here, you can see the immediate changes are being reflected here into this component. So that's what I was saying, that any changes that you're making into your component, and if your component is sitting on the same page into the into the same page, then the changes are going to be reflected immediately. Maybe if I go ahead and remove this and then save it, the changes are going to reflect at both the side, because this also use behind the scene UI record API. Okay. Now, once I saved this, you can see this is basically nothing. It is my view layout. I will show you as well. Now we can change the mode from edit to view. So you would be able to see by default your component is going to land or display the information into the view mode with the pencil icons in it. You can see here, and if you click on edit, you would be able to make the changes. Maybe select the parent account and save it. You would be able to see the similar view component. Now, if you really wanted to change it, the value is read only. And if you deploy it now, I'm hoping the values that there is no typo mistake in this mode. And now if you refresh this page, you would see the value in the edit in the read only format. You cannot make any changes with the help of this component. But definitely if you make any changes here in your component, those changes are going to reflect over here. So I hope you all got now the difference between 3 different modes. Yeah. Now let's talk about there was another attribute that we talk about, fields, right? And we said that when we are using this lightning record form, we should always try to use fields instead of layout, because you can see here these are the fields which are controlled by your compact layout. Okay, but if you really wanted to make sure that you really only wanted to display the fields that you wanted to display, maybe account name, rating, or industry, right? So how you can do is you can get rid of this layout type, and let's create a variable into the JavaScript with the name fields. And this is going to be nothing. This is going to be an array of records, because there could be multiple fields, right? So it's always going to be an array, and we are going to decorate with @track, and we will say fields, and immediately we need to make it as array. Now, how you're going fields going to look like? So first, let me tell you how exactly the structure of fields is there behind the scene in Salesforce. So let's say that there is a field called type in Salesforce, right? In under account object. So what actually happens is Salesforce stores the information like this. Behind the scene, they store the information like object API name dot field API name. This is the standard object account. This is the standard field. There is a field called active in account, that is a custom field. So that is how it's going to look like. Maybe we have a custom object called invoice, and then there is a custom field called payment. So this is how your structure going to look like. This is how basically Salesforce stores the information behind the scene. Okay. But when it comes to your Lightning Web component under the fields into the LDS, okay, what you have to do is you have to maybe let's quickly create an object here into the JavaScript. This actually stores the information like this: object API name. Sorry, it is an object. It stores object API name and field API name like this. It stores the information like this. Object API name is going to be account. Field API name is going to be type. That's how it does accept in your Lightning Web Component when you wanted to define your own fields here. Okay, so we can just say, okay, import object field API name. Okay, like this. There is also one way that this is again a way of for making it dynamic. Maybe let's say you know that I wanted to display account name, I wanted to display website, phone, or industry. So you can also import the information. So how you could import it? Let's say we can say import. You can give it a name, maybe name field from, like, because we wanted to import. So we will say from. Now here we have to tell from where we wanted to import. So we will say go to Salesforce. Under Salesforce, we really wanted to read the schema. And under schema, I really wanted to read the account object. And under that account, there is a field called name. So this is how you would be importing the field definition of any object. And you could import multiple fields. Maybe if you say import, and you can say industry field, you'll say from, we wanted to go to Salesforce, then schema, object name is account, and then field name is industry. And this IntelliSense is really good that nowadays we are able to see as soon as we type, right, we see the IntelliSense, we see the drop down. So it's very easy for us to select whatever we are looking for. And then you can utilize like this as well. But this is the way that this is going to always going to be static. It's never going to be dynamic. But if you really wanted to make sure that it's dynamic for any object, you can accept parameters and you can define like this. Okay, so maybe we have got industry name, maybe we can say rating, just 4 fields. It just, we wanted to test it, make sure that there is no typo, and then let's deploy it. So our code is deployed. Now this time we should be only able to see the relevant fields that we have just added into the layout. You can see only 4 fields: type, industry, account name, and rating. The same order that we have added here, the fields. If you want to change the order, you could easily change the order into your Lightning Web Component. So that is how you could basically provide the dynamic fields as well as the static fields that you want to have by importing. Okay. And if you print this, right, if you try to print this name field, you would see this structure. That's how I got to know what structure Salesforce uses behind the scene. Okay. Any questions so far?
I mean, there is specific use case. I mean, similarly look like a standard.
Yeah,
Any
there are
specific.
there are so many use cases that you will get into.
Oh,
Okay, there would be requirement where they will say, I want a component that is dynamically available. When I say dynamically available, that component can be added anywhere, maybe into the home page, maybe into the account detail page, maybe into contact detail page. And that is configurable by admin, where you wanted to let your admin choose what fields they wanted to display into the component. And then either you wanted to edit or delete, or not delete, edit or update that object. That's the one specific use case. There would be many more use cases where you really have to have a custom object. You really don't want it to let your end users to fill all the fields that you have, and you cannot really go ahead and define multiple layouts and multiple fields for your users just for the sake of using different fields. right? So there would be use cases that you would get, but I'll say the best use case, the product that you can work is enable this component dynamically to become available within any object record page, or maybe anywhere in the within Salesforce or even in your community, and then let the user perform, edit, or create a record. I have a product that I can show you here. So basically I've developed the product that is a part of projects that we can say. I would be able to quickly showcase you if that component and the data setup is there in my within my org. But if not, I'll definitely show you maybe tomorrow or maybe some other day. But that's the use case that we could definitely go there and get that and work on that. This is just the one part that I've showcased you. You can also even utilize into your components as part of let's say that you have a like maybe you have a requirement for creating multiple records at a time, maybe let's say timesheet project where you have maybe you have some timesheet, you're creating candidate information, you've got project, you wanted to develop the timesheet, then you wanted to take some notes. There are very huge cases where you can utilize this Lightning data service. It looks like a standard, but it's not actually. You can even extend this. You can write your own logic on top of this. Like you can do validation, you can predefine values. So if you see here, basically I'm getting this message because there is no data configured for this project which I have developed, but you would be able to see it because I'm not going to take everyone's time here to set up the data and then display the information to everyone. That's why it's basically giving the error. But you have use cases, definitely you would be able to work on that. And that's the part I was coming to. Any other questions? Okay, so yeah, remember we talked about event.prevent default, right? And also if you come back here, okay, we may change it to read only. Maybe if we change it to maybe view, right? And we deploy it. And if you remember, we talked about event.prevent default. Okay, that's really a good use case. We have seen into the anchor tag, we have seen into the email tag as well, telephone and all those things. And now if you see here, if you try to go ahead and edit, and if you click on save, we really don't see any message. Okay, and even if you wanted to click on save and then you wanted to perform your own, I'll say, yeah, you wanted to perform your own logic on the click of save. You really don't want a logic that is written by this component itself, that is taken care by Salesforce itself. So for that case, you have few events as well. I'm going to showcase on success, where you can say handle success. You can have on error if there is any error. So you could say as well on error. So it's going to say handle error. And then you could have on submit. So once form is submitted, right? Once you click on save button, the form is going to submit. You can have handle submit. Then there is on cancel, when you click on cancel as well. So there is on cancel event as well. And then there is on load as well. So these are some of the events, browser events that we get by default while using these components. Let's go ahead and define these methods one by one. So there are 5 methods. So let's define these methods. We will say event. And this is success, right? Yeah, so let's say handle error, handle submit, handle cancel, and handle load. So this is a success method. So I'm going to say event.prevent default. And then maybe we are going to say an alert and we will say record saved. That is success method. Now there is an error. So let's quickly do the console.error. And we are going to say JSON.stringify. So we will get event.detail. This detail is going to give you each and every error. And you can also have a console.log for event.detail, which is going to give you the information about the which record has been saved. And we can also say event.prevent default. Now this handle submit is really, really important. If I say event.prevent default and let's say console.log and we can say record submitted. Okay, that's what we have. Maybe you can have handle load, record loaded, cancel, let it be like this. So now here I'm again forcing, or maybe I'm saying just look into this handle submit. It is having a prevent default method. Now what is the default behavior of this save button is? The default behavior of save button is that it is going to take the fields, it is going to submit it to the Lightning data service. Lightning data service is going to submit the information to UI record API, and UI record API is going to submit the information to Salesforce. Now, if we use event.prevent default, like we are using this event handle submit here on submit, we are defining our own method. We are saying event.prevent default. Now this is not going to save the record into system. So if you go ahead and say hot and do save, hot is not going to be updated here. You clearly see the rating is still cold because you have prevented the default behavior and you have to write your own logic now to prevent to submit the record and then do the processing. That's the one thing that you really need to do there. Okay. Maybe you can also put this console.log here to see showcase, or maybe to see what all information you get there in your JavaScript. Okay. Now let's say if you click on this, like we are not providing any value, we'll definitely get the error because this is something standard. If you click on cancel, we really don't have anything. Save button, we have already prevented by default. So success will never get executed until unless we have written our own custom logic. So now you might be asking, so how you could basically now how we can utilize this with these values and save the information into Salesforce, right? So this is again, you might be asking what is the use case? So there could be a use case where you wanted to utilize the standard input form, provide your own fields that you want. And then on a click of save button, you really wanted to have your own logic, do some maybe calling some Apex class method, do some validation, and then you wanted to submit the record or maybe showcase the error. Okay. Then you could utilize override the method. So if you click on save, okay, instead of doing the console.log, we said console.error, but still you are able to see the information. Like we basically see fields and we see all the fields that we have, all these 4 fields. And this is error. That's why we got in the error format in our red color. Okay. So how we can submit it? To submit it, we just need to go to component library, and here into our component library, search for a record form. Okay. And then if you keep scrolling, this is the one. Let me copy paste and then I'll explain you. Handle submit is here. Okay. So this is the one. Okay, yeah. So we have already seen, right, within this, if you click on save, within this event.detail, there is a attribute called fields that actually gives us the all fields in the form of object, like type, what is the type, industry, what is industry, the name, and what is rating. So what we did is here is we said, okay, create a variable called constant. It could be type of let fields We also have on the top, that's fine. We say let fields, and then we say event.detail. That is going to give you this fields object. And then we are referencing to that fields. Okay, so that is going to give you this whole object now up to here. And then if you really wanted to make the modifications, maybe I can say fields dot there is a parent ID field into the account. I'm just assigning as a blank value. And currently we have this parent account. Okay, so I'm assigning the blank value. Now we did the manipulation into the fields, and then we really need to submit our object, submit our data, our record form. So with the help of query selector, as we talked about, query selector is going to take either class or tag, or yeah, these are the class or tag, or the ID as well. So we are just using this tag, which is lightning record form. Okay, and then we are using this submit, which is the default method of this lightning record form. And submit actually takes the fields, what all fields you wanted to submit. And that's why we have got it over here. And then we just deploy it. And this is basically the 3 lines of, we have used 3 lines, but maybe in your use case, you are calling the apex. Maybe after this, you're calling the apex, doing some validation, and then at the end, you're submitting. You can do as many as, or you can do as much as processing or the logic that you want to put. So now let's go ahead, make the changes. I'm just maybe rating and making as hot. Okay. And if you click on save, you can see we got the record is saved. And if you click on OK, you got the complete information about your record, every single information about the record that we have. And you clearly see the parent account has been like erased. The value for parent account field has been erased, and our code is working fine. So that is the custom solution, not solution. I would say if you really wanted to override the standard behavior of the buttons into the lightning record form, you can easily override those. So that was our lightning record form. And then we have got lightning record edit form, and then we have got lightning record view form. So as we said, these are really simple lightning record edit and view form. The syntax is lightning record edit form. Okay, and then there is a syntax lightning record view form. Now this lightning record edit form actually takes the record ID, which record you wanted to edit, object API name, which object API object you wanted to edit, and within this lightning record edit form, you need to specify what all fields you wanted to display. Okay, so first let's use the attribute values, and the similar, these attribute values are also accepted by lightning record view form. Now here, how you are going to define the values? So you can define using lightning input field. There is something called lightning input field. Okay, but this lightning input field is only going to work within this lightning record edit form, and you have to provide a field name, and that field name is going to be the API name of your field. So maybe name, rating, and industry. And similarly, there is a lightning output field instead of input, and that also takes the simple, that is field name. Okay, now if you want, maybe if you might ask, what is the use case of these record edit form and record view form? So there is the I would say one use case that you would have is like one difference, the minor difference or the major difference that you would see between lightning record form and lightning record edit and view form is this tag contains everything: record, edit, create. And then if you don't specify, like in lightning record form, if you don't specify record ID, it will let you create the record. Okay, in case of lightning record ID, or sorry, record edit and view form, you definitely have to provide the record ID. Here you have to write down each and every field that you wanted to display, as well as you have to use your own button. Okay, you have to use your button, like type is going to be submit, and then you can say value as submit. You have to basically use your own button for lightning record edit form. In this case, in case of lightning record form, the buttons are going to be there, and you can utilize your standard actions. You can definitely utilize the standard actions in your lightning record edit form as well. Lightning record edit form, there is also one use case which is really helpful. You can utilize this in terms of when you wanted to override the lightning data table, because your lightning data table does not support the lookup field. So you can use this lightning record edit form, and you can utilize the lookup field. How? You just need to use lightning input field and say parent ID. And this lightning record edit form you can also utilize within your form as well, in order to get the information about a lookup. But you really have to be careful. You really need to think how you wanted to utilize it, but you can definitely utilize it. View form is only for view. You can style, you can develop your own style. This lightning record form does not support or does not let you to provide your own custom CSS, but these two tags lets you specify the custom CSS as well, so that you can specify the way you want to you want your component have a look and feel. Any questions? I think the button has to have the title, or maybe I think it should be the value of submit like this. Okay. Let me refresh this. So if you see here, right, earlier you might have seen that we were able to see the account like edit form. You can see there is a button here now. You can really apply your CSS that you want, and then you can say parent account could be anything. Click on submit, and not sure if the parent account, it has been updated. You really don't need to do anything. You just need to have a button. That button is going to do everything, and that button must need to be placed within lightning record edit form in order to work. You can also do like this for your lightning record edit form as well. Lightning record form, you can see it is just giving you the ability to view the information about a record. So if you really wanted to display the information about a record and you have a record ID, you could use lightning record view form, provide your own CSS, provide your own CSS styles, and you would be able to use it very easily like this. So that's basically all about our lightning LDS record form, edit form, and view form. Any questions before we move to the assignments? There are 3 or 4 assignments. Okay, I don't see any questions. I'm not sure if we all are awake. Rohit? Okay. So this is now we have got this is the assignment number 1. Create a custom metadata called close case that have the following fields: object API name, field API name, sort, order, place to be displayed. That is going to be a type of pick list, edit, and new. I hope I really don't need to I'll say I'm assuming that you all know what is a custom metadata and how to create it. So this is the one assignment. You have to create the custom metadata with the name with these fields, and then you need to create the records for the metadata for the following case fields. This is going to be subject, status, priority, and description. Out of this object API name and then field API name, these are basically the relationship field. You need to select metadata relationship while creating these fields. How? Let me quickly show you. Once you try to create a metadata, if we go to, so basically you need to navigate to setup, quick search box, custom metadata, search for custom metadata. You will find custom metadata type, click on new, and then provide the name like close case. Plural label could be close case or close cases. Hit save. And here you will see custom fields. Click on new. This is the one like metadata relationship. You need to click on next. Related to, you will select entity definition. Click on next and you will say object API name. And then again click on next. Add it to the page layout. Do save and new. And then again select metadata relationship. Click on next. This time you can see there are 3 different options. You need to select field definition. Okay. Because we wanted to have a list of field API name. So we will say field API name. What is your controlling field? The one we just created, object API name. Click on next and save it. Now, what is the benefit of using metadata relationship is that once you click on manage close cases and click on new, you will see for your object API name, you will see the list of all the objects. So you can select case. And once you select the object, based on the object, field API name are going to be rendered here. So you can select the field API name and you can also make these as record fields. So that's assignment number 1. Assignment number 2. Create a Lightning Web component that will sit on the case record page. The component will always open in an edit mode with the following fields. These are the fields. User can provide the information. Once user clicks on the information, clicks on the save button, it should update the case with the new values that you have provided. Assignment number 3. You need to create another Lightning Web component that is now going to sit on the contact record page. The component will be responsible for creating the case record from the contact record detail page. These are the following values that you need to have into the case detail. Now, the previous one was for updating the case. This one is for creating the case from contact detail page. Now, when the user clicks on the save button, it should not update. It should create the case with the new values. Now, this is the catch here with this requirement. The case must be created under the contact where you are sitting. Your component is added under that contact. Assignment number 4. Create a Lightning Web component, utilize Lightning View Form and display the below information about your contact. Mailing address and other addresses are compound fields. So you really need to define the field API name for each and every field, like street, state, postal code, country. Yeah, I think these are the 5 fields that you need to define. Yep. Any questions so far in the assignments, confusion, anything? Please feel free to. Okay, explain the assignment number 3. You have to create a Lightning Web component that will use Lightning record form and that will display these fields about the case object. Case number, status, priority, description, and case reason. Okay, I think it should be REASON. I believe that case reason, there is a field on case. Let me see. Yeah, this one. Sorry, not origin. There is a field. Yeah, this one, case reason. Sorry, that there is a typo mistake. The case reason. These are the 5 fields that you need to display into that object. Now, as you are going to use Lightning record form, you would obviously see Lightning cancel button and save button. So once a user clicks on the save button, the case record should be created, but the case should be created within the contact record. Now, this is how it's going to happen. If you go to the contact, open any contact. Let's say here your component is sitting, let's say create case or quick case. Okay. You provide the information, you click on save button. That case should be created under this contact. Okay. Now, if you navigate to another contact, you fill the information about a case. Your set case should be created now under this contact. So that's what you have to do as part of assignment number 3. Is it clear now? Okay. Anyone else? So basically a new case detail should come under the related list of contact. Yes, that should be the outcome.